Welcome to the Overeat, the ultimate podcast for women over 40 who are ready to take control of their health, ditch the diets, and lose weight for good. I'm your host and coach, Danya Powers. And today we're going to talk about something that I really wish that someone had talked to me about during the holidays, because I do believe that it's important to understand that there is a recovery protocol that you can set in place for yourself so that you're not beating yourself up. And we talked about it a little bit on the last podcast that I posted about holidays. But I just really wish someone would have told me years ago, because everyone that wakes up after the holiday, that morning after, you have, and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It can be birthdays. It can be any number of things. And, to be honest with you, we feel like we've destroyed everything. It's that night out. It's that feeling puffy. It's that guilty, that swollen, that sort of that comes after, and you just feel it. You feel yucky. You don't feel great. You did not gain 3 pounds of fat overnight. And I think it's really important that we understand that. We talked about it a little bit last time, but I wanted to talk about it in depth because you didn't ruin anything and you didn't go backwards having one meal off plan. And, I had somebody tell me today, like, I had pecan pie. I couldn't resist pecan pie. So the only time of year I have pecan pie. And I was just like, stop. It is okay to have pecan pie once a year. It's really important to understand that treats are important. It's important to not let something control you so much that mentally you are going to, not allow yourself to taste something again. You have yourself in the wrong mentality. You're not giving food power over your life, but you're also understanding the reality of the situation, and you're not, really, I don't even know how to say it like in a great way right now, but you're not really moving yourself backward is the biggest thing. Your trajectory is still forward. But if you don't acknowledge that and move out of that, what I want to talk to you today is that you can get stuck. Okay. So what to do exactly after the day you overeat, like a holiday recovery food, it's really important to know what to do. So we're going to talk about that today, because overeating is not the problem when you have a holiday meal. Staying stuck is, really, truly. So let's just dig right in, okay? We talked about this a little bit last time. We're going to go into a little bit more detail today, but what is actually happening in your body when you have a big meal, okay? First of all, hear this with my whole heart. I really, really want you to hear this. And that is that what you're feeling today is water, not fat. You have to say that out loud. I didn't gain fat. I gained water. You would have had to really sit down and consume about 7,000 calories yesterday, or whatever day your holiday was or birthday, and it's possible that you did, I guess. But in order to actually gain fat, you have to consume a considerable amount of calories. We talked about this on the last podcast episode, but sodium is a big factor. You're eating foods you don't normally eat, unless you sit down and eat turkey and ham. For whatever reason, my husband wanted to fry the turkey. And if he listens to this podcast episode, forgive me, it was awful. It did not taste good. I didn't enjoy it at all. It was just super, 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 super dry. And so, but there again, my palate is not necessarily the best one to gauge on, because I just like simple food, right? So, but you've got the ham in your system. There's a lot of salt and sweets, believe it or not. You have a lot of salt in different candies and different stuff, whatever it was that you consumed. Not to mention the dressing and the green beans that have bacon in them, or whatever it was that you had. So any big sodium hit really pulls water into your tissues. And that's the bloat. That's the puffiness that you're feeling. It's not fat. It's literally like you can't get your rings off kind of bloating. And that is sodium. Almost always that's sodium. And that's just you eating food you're not used to eating. Okay. The way to get past that is to drink lots of water and flush it out of your system. Is it going to be instantaneous? Yeah, but it is going to happen. The carb spike is also a really important thing to remember. We talked about this last time, but your muscles love carbs. And so they will literally just be like, woohoo, carbs. And so they do a glycogen refill. So when you eat more carbs than usual, your muscles store them as glycogen. And then for every gram of glycogen that your body stores, it's like 3 to 4 grams of water with it, basically. So you're looking on putting water weight just within that, as your body is taking that and utilizing it and storing it. So, you had stuffing, you had rolls, you had potatoes. Listen, I make sourdough rolls. They are amazing. We had sourdough rolls, you have potatoes, mashed potatoes, dessert, all those different things. And, sister, that's water weight. That's your body telling you, I'm holding on to this water because I like my glycogen, right? So for every gram of the glycogen, the carbs, you're storing an extra 3 to 4 grams of water. So be mindful of that. It's not, you didn't gain fat per se. Your digestion is also slowed if it's a bigger meal than normal. And to be honest with you, when you're eating consistently and clean, it is hard to consume a big meal. It is. You sit down to eat, you put all this stuff on your plate, you get about halfway through it and you're like, I'm full. You're just not the same. You just don't, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you're not the same way that you used to be mentally, physically, and hopefully you're walking into this meal not super hungry, haven't eaten your food for the day, right? So, your digestion's just naturally slowed down because of these foods you're eating. This is a bigger meal, possible stress, maybe irregular timing. We had our food at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is a weird time to eat for us. We don't normally eat. And then that's going to all come together and equal delayed digestion. It's not fat, it's just really your gut saying, hold please, give me a moment whilst I get all this together for you. Thank you. And so that is going to add your weight because you ate the food. Now it's just sitting there and your body's like, trying to work through what you just did to it. It's not a bad thing. You just have to give it time. It will do what it does. It's kept you alive all this time, right? I feel that I have experienced over 40 bigger swings. So I think that's probably true for most women over 40. The bigger swings happen because of lower estrogen, because of potential lower testosterone, because of slower gut motility. If you have eaten or starved yourself for half your life, your gut is a mess. And so half of what we're doing, somebody told me they need to be on a healthy gut protocol. That's the first thing I push into people without them aware. But everything I'm putting into your system is to create a really healthy microbiome for your healthy bacteria to live and hopefully put things back into balance. But that slower gut motility it's a big part of it. And we're trying to help build that. But when you have someone over 40 that's never done that, you're already in that slower motility anyways. And then just let's add the fact that it's higher cortisol. Just before this podcast, I'm still flushed from it, but my Calendly link was not working and it's very stressful. So my cortisol spikes really quickly at this age versus I used to kind of build, or I'd be like, oh, I can let this, sit for a minute. And at this age, at 49, first and foremost, if I let it sit too long, I'm going to forget. And then second of all, if it's stressful now, it's stressful now to me. It's not that I can't put it aside. And so it's just different. You're just handling things differently. Your ability to process is different at this age. We're just kind of at the no bullshit age. It's like, no, let's just get through this. I'm ready to just muscle through. I remember thinking about, we talked about the LeConte hike, but I remember at some point on the hike thinking, I would have never been able to do this in my 30s. And it's not because I physically couldn't have done it. I was much, much better physically. Mentally, it took a tremendous amount of fortitude. But I also was just taking it very seriously. Everybody was like super excited at the top, and I was like, they are not paying attention to the fact that we have to get back down. So I don't know that it's taken joy out of my life per se, but it's also, I'm very focused when I need to be focused. It's very different because I know how quickly I can get distracted and how that takes away. So higher cortisol is life right now. It's part of being over 40. And then we have a lower overnight recovery. I did another nutrition. I have like a bazillion nutrition certifications, but I did another nutrition certification. I finished it out this morning on reverse dieting. And statistically, every test they ever do is on men. But across the board, this one was done on men and women. And recovery overnight, if you're not getting at least 8 hours of sleep, it doesn't happen. Your body cannot, it's going to steal muscle and store fat. But if you get at least 8 hours of sleep, you will lose fat and not muscle. And so now tell me how to do that when I have a hot flash at, this morning it was 3:22 and I was sitting up in bed going, not hot, but hot enough to wake up. You know what I mean? So it's one of those goofy things where it's, it accumulates. Don't get me wrong. It's not like you have to get 8 solid hours straight. But if you can make it add up to 8, what does that mean? That means we're going to bed on time, so that we can get up at the appropriate time to start our day. And this morning, that happened to be 10 minutes till 5 for me. So, but all of these things that we have just talked about, minus the hike on the mountain, although the recovery from that did create quite a bit of swelling, this all exaggerates the bloat. Okay. You didn't gain fat. You just really gained what I would coin as temporary data. It's information. So we don't make emotional decisions from temporary data. We don't. And in fact, if you've had a gradual gain and you're looking at like you're up 14 or 15 pounds, it's still data. And you wouldn't have done that from a Thanksgiving meal, but let's say that happened to you over this last year. What's different? What has changed? Have you gotten your blood work done? Those sorts of things. But as far as a holiday meal goes, it's just information, letting you know your body needs to digest. It needs probably some rest and recovery from, having to deal with this big meal. You have to give it time to flush out the sodium and all the extra different things that you consumed. Your weight's going to go back down in a few days, 3 or 4 days. Give it 3 or 4 days. So, let's talk about what I have coined as the 6-step same day reset. Okay. If you only take one thing from this podcast, it is this. Okay. And this is the exact reset protocol that I use with myself and with the divas. So you're getting firsthand information here. Water first thing. That is always the key. We always drink our water before our coffee. If you can get water in your system right away, it's going to aid in your digestion. It's going to help you with everything else in the day. It's going to trigger natural hunger. It's going to help water down stomach acids, which is not a bad thing. That's actually a pretty good thing. It's going to help aid in everything that you're going to eat the rest of the day. So water before anything. That's also going to help us flush the sodium out, reduce the bloat, and stabilize the appetite for the rest of the day. Where we were maybe walking into the day with kind of, you know what I'm talking about when I say sluggish appetite. Like I ate so much yesterday, I just can't even imagine eating today. The other thing that we do pretty consistently when you're coming back from a birthday, and this is something that I for sure do, I have a protein only breakfast. I usually have a protein laced with a little bit of fat, but primarily a protein only breakfast. So I'll have like maybe 1 egg, 2 egg whites, and turkey bacon. Or I will have a protein shake, Greek yogurt, and a tablespoon or half a tablespoon of peanut butter. Or I'll have a turkey egg white scramble, something like that, to where I'm getting primarily protein in that first meal with a little bit of fat, but I don't put any carbs because I'm trying to get my system kind of cleared out. Not that there's anything wrong with carbs. We're just trying to do a metabolic reset for that next day. And so we want to offer as little complication into our body as possible. And then the other thing is, we walk, we don't run. I do have some running divas. Don't get me wrong. I have marathoners and whatnot in my program as well. But cardio the next day kind of makes everything a little bit worse. You're already inflamed. You're already holding water. You're already puffy. So taking a 30-minute walk is going to reduce cortisol. It's going to clear inflammation. It's going to restore digestion. It's going to gently ease you back into movement. It's not going to be punishment. Not that there's anything wrong with doing cardio the next day, but it does spike the inflammation up. The inflammation factor, it's going to spike your cortisol as well. And we want to try to keep everything low. So I always tell people, like, for your cardio, like my cardio tomorrow is going to be normal. Had I done cardio on Friday, which I didn't do. I just did a walk on Friday. But had I done cardio, I would have done more of a gentle cardio, like, maybe some water aerobics or something like that. But the next thing that you want to do is really throw some fiber in to help your body move things through quicker. And that's going to be a very heavy vegetable lunch. So you've had water for breakfast, or you've had water before breakfast, water before coffee, and then you've had a very protein heavy breakfast with a little bit of fat in it, and then you're going to have a very veggie heavy lunch. So volume plus fiber plus micronutrients, and that's the holy trinity of recovery, truly. So think salad. So think like a big salad with 6 to 8 ounces of grilled chicken on it, some roasted veggies, plus chicken, or some soup that has greens in it plus chicken. Does that make sense? So you're still having protein, but you're having something that's very veggie heavy. This is really important that you get the leftovers out of your world. And I say that not wanting to disrespect Aunt Mildred's, pumpkin pie or pecan pie, but it's not going to serve you with your goals. And so if you're on a weight loss journey, make sure you have tasted that the day that we're supposed to taste it. And then don't necessarily hold on to it. You don't need the pumpkin pie to be there for days and days. You don't need to graze. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. You need structured meals. And so overeating one day plus grazing the next, now we're getting close to that spiral, because now we're kind of feeding that mental monster that is craving the sweets. So the structure is breakfast, lunch, maybe one snack, and then dinner. We want to give the digestive tract a little bit of rest. And so we're not punishing it, we're giving it some stability, and we're trying to give it things that are pretty easily digestible. And that's why I think soup is a great thing to have. Just make sure it's really veggie packed so that we've got plenty of fiber coming through. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the bedtime routine is non-negotiable. You have to get yourself to bed. So you can't recover from bloating without recovering from cortisol, period. End of story. So one of the things that I take as a company, I really wish they would let me be sponsored by them, is a company called Moon Juice. And they have a really great product called Magnesium that I cannot say enough good things about. So Magnesium has got magnesium glycinate and OMG, what is the sleepy? Melatonin. I was like, oh my God, it's leaving me. It left me. So it has the magnesium glycinate and the melatonin, and it's in a powder. And so you literally put just a little teaspoon of it in water. And within 30 minutes of taking that, I have to go to bed. I'm so knocked out. And I sleep so much better taking my magnesium. Okay. And so the magnesium is a big part of it. If you're just taking some kind of magnesium glycinate, or if you want to try magnesium, I would love to hear your experience with it. Make sure that you are getting your water in that day, your 96 to 128 ounces of water. And when you head to bed, hopefully you don't have to pee all night long. One that's hard for me is no screens the last 20 minutes, because I do have an online business. My clients talk to me on my phone, but I have read over and over and over. It's not even necessarily people are like, oh, the magical blue light. It's not even that. It's just the way that you're stimulated when you are on your phone. It's keeping you awake because it's almost like you have unfinished business. And so it's, if you can put it down about 20 minutes before you go to bed, you're just done thinking about it. And so let me tell you something you probably did not know about me. I cannot read books at night. I cannot, because if they're a good book, if it's a bad book, I'm okay. But if it's a good book, I will be up all night because I cannot put it down. So some people are like, read at night. It's not I just cannot do that because I'll be up all night. So, but one of the things that helps me is we have white noise. Well, I like brown noise better than white noise. Just the tone is nice, but just playing in the background. The room is set. It's very dark. All those things. Make sure you're setting yourself up. We shower every night, so that helps me a lot. Just having that routine. It's like shower, pajamas, sit, come off my screen for 20 minutes, and then take my magnesium. I usually have it in tea. I do read a little bit, but it's upstairs. I don't bring it downstairs and read in bed. And about 10 pages is what we read every single night. And then usually we just head to bed. And that's usually about 9 o'clock for us. So this is how you feel better tomorrow. You have to get that really good chunk of sleep. And I'm telling you this irrationally, having worked on Friday, because it was Black Friday. It's my biggest sale of the year. And I worked from 7 a.m. until 1 a.m. And then I got up the next morning and I worked again, to the point that I was so tired Saturday night I couldn't even talk. Like, David would ask me questions and words would not come out of my mouth. He was like, you need to go to bed. So I slept for about 12 hours from Saturday to Sunday. Magic. It was magical. So we just basically have a 24 to 48 hour bounce back plan. So after that same day reset, you have your 2-day plan now. Okay. You're going to hit your protein every day, at least 100 grams. My recommendation is to hit 1 gram per pound of ideal body weight. So if you need to weigh 140 pounds, try to eat about 140 grams. Protein stabilizes cravings and it helps reset your appetite really, really fast. It helps trigger leptin, which is that GLP-1. Keep carbs steady, don't restrict. I would aim for more complex carbs, they're the quote unquote good carbs, but try to aim for carbs that have fiber in them. So restricting carbs after overeating will always rebound back to cravings, especially if you keep that stuff in your house. So just be very careful about that. Make sure that you are getting your steps in. Start focusing on getting your step goal. You're not really burning off. Yesterday, you're just reducing inflammation again. You're creating movement. You're helping with your NEAT, which is your, basically your how much you're burning, you know what I mean, through the day. So we want to make sure that we are focused on movement as a general goal for the most part anyway. If you sit a lot, which I do actually sit a lot as a coach, you would think, oh, she exercises all the time. I am behind my computer talking to people all the time. So I have to be very purposeful. One of the things that I do is I set my Alexa to go off every hour. And then I set her for 1 hour and then I get up and move nonstop for 7 minutes. And that's pretty much how I hit my 10,000 step goal every day. That helps me a lot. I usually put on the Cupid Shuffle and do some line dancing or something. Totally, I should record that sometime and share that with you guys. But you're tracking also, not to punish, but to regulate. And one of the things that I have to, it's so hard to get divas, because I will hand them a meal plan and say, hey, if you'll follow this meal plan, you don't have to track. Eventually, though, I want them to track. And if they have a regain during my program, they have to track because I need to see what you're eating and I need to see what it's adding up to. I need to see what's happening and maybe why we're not hitting our goals or maybe we've had a regain. Awareness pulls you back into your identity and it makes you aware because inevitably I'll sit down with a woman and be like, okay, what would you like changed on your plan? And if I'm sitting down with her and I'm asking her, she'll be like, oh, yeah, I never eat that. By the end of the day, that's 200 or 300 calories that you're missing. We're already in a deficit. That's too many calories. Now we have to, um, figure out how to make that up because you're not getting enough and you're dealing with the fact that your body is going to start utilizing muscle for fuel and store fat. So we're kind of back into the yo-yo place that you came from in the first place. We also want to get back to normal portions. Your 6 ounces of chicken, your 8 ounces of chicken, not tiny portions, normal portions. The goal is consistency. It's not compensation. So this matters because we do want to recover. And it's not just physical, it's emotional. We want to make sure that the holidays have highs and lows attached to it. There's stress that we deal with. There's a lot of, times we lose family members around the holidays and different stuff like that. There's just stuff. So you never know what's going to get stirred up, what gunk we're going to stir up. I was talking to a therapist. I had a Reiki session done recently, and she was like, "You'll probably cry, and it's okay if you do." And I was like, "No, I'm good. No, I'm good." About sometime in the middle of the next day, I was in the middle of a walk, and every bad childhood memory that I hadn't thought about in 20 or 30 years just came vomiting out my mouth right at my husband. So we do truly have gunk still inside of us that will get stirred up during the holidays. It happens. Trauma is real. But here's what I want you to hold on to. You did not mess up. You do not need to start over. You do not need to punish yourself because you needed a plan and now you have one. And so make sure you save this podcast. Make sure you subscribe and like. I would love to hear what you got out of this episode. If you want to write your biggest takeaway, or if you want to message me on Instagram at Danya Powers EC or TikTok Danya Powers EC. You can also find me on Facebook as Danya Powers. And I want to make sure that you guys know whatever happened yesterday, just let it go. You're one reset day away from feeling like yourself again, regardless of what it was. If it was food, if it was trauma, if it was, anything else that's happened in your life, the next time that you wake up bloated, stressed, or convinced that you ruined everything, come back to this episode and remember overeating is not the problem, ever. Staying stuck is. You're not stuck, you're just human. We're all very, very human, and you're rebuilding stronger right now. Until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas. Thanks for tuning into this latest episode of the Diva Deets. If this helped you and you found it valuable, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Ready for more support? Join my free Facebook community or join my coaching community. The details are in the show notes. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time, stay strong, stay consistent, and stay fabulous, my divas.